This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Breaking news: an arrest in the Paris terror massacre. New details pouring in about the assault, plus a look at the two suspects still on the run.
New developments in the brutal murders of an elderly couple in Laverne. Now there's a sketch of the man police believe is responsible.
And an outbreak of measles in Southern California. A look at the symptoms and what may be causing the disease to spread. Good evening, I'm Ellen Leyva in for Colleen Sullivan.
And I'm David Ono. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. And we begin with a terror attack in France. The youngest of three suspects wanted in connection with the attack on a newspaper office that killed 12 people has surrendered to police. The suspects are linked to a Yemeni terrorist network, and one was previously convicted of terrorism charges and sentenced to 18 months in prison. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson joins us live from the newsroom with the very latest. Alex.
David, we learned that youngest suspect surrendered in a city about 2.5 hours northeast of Paris. But authorities continue to search for the other two suspects and have released images on a wanted poster. Take a look. This police bulletin describes the men as armed and dangerous. They're two brothers in their 30s who are both French nationals. Their names are Saïd and Sharif Kouachi. In the past, Sharif Kouachi was arrested for terrorism in Paris. French authorities were worried that he may try to commit another terrorist act. Tonight, they say, he has.
French police raid a city 80 miles northeast of Paris. The youngest suspect, 18-year-old Hamid Mourad, has surrendered to authorities after one of the worst terrorist attacks in French history. At least two masked men carrying automatic rifles kill at least a dozen and injure about a dozen more. They target the satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo, which has mocked the Prophet Muhammad several times in the past. The attackers pull up at 11:30 a.m., opening fire on two guards, killing one. Inside, they find a cartoonist for the paper and her young daughter. They force that cartoonist to give them the office security code, and they enter. The masked men then walk into an editorial meeting, gunning down 9 others, including the editor.
This was a hit, a professional hit. They were cool, calm, and collected. They had fire discipline. Their bullets hit the targets.
Outside, one gunman chants Allah Akbar, Arabic for God is great. The men get away in this vehicle, but eventually have to ditch the car. French President François Hollande is calling on his fellow countrymen to unite. President Obama phoned the French president to offer the U.S.'s help.
Universal belief in freedom of expression is something that can't be financed.
We are working with them. We will do everything we can to help them bring to justice the perpetrators of the atrocity that happened in Paris.
A rally for expression and liberty in Paris tonight. Thousands are saying they're not afraid. There are spontaneous gatherings in the streets all over the world. The crowds offering their support to Charlie Hebdo, with so many holding signs reading in French, "I am Charlie," a phrase now trending on Twitter worldwide.
I feel like it's an attack on freedom of expression, freedom of speech. I'm shocked and disgusted.
American authorities are now putting the 3 names of those suspects into their systems and trying to figure out if they have any connection to America. American officials say that there are no credible specific threats against American journalists tonight. Reporting live from the newsroom, Alex Michelson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Alex. News of the attack spread quickly among Franco-Americans and French nationals living here in Southern California. Tonight, one French restaurant in Franklin Village is planning to honor the victims of the attack. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter is there live with more. Leanne?
Ellen, they are gearing up for a candlelight vigil tonight here at La Poubelle behind me here in Franklin Village. The owners devastated by the deadly terrorist attack. As you can see, they've begun preparing, getting the candles ready. Je suis Charlie, I am Charlie signs posted on the front window of the restaurant. Everyone here ready to mourn together and say a prayer for the innocent lives lost. Francois Coster says she wants to show that Americans are standing in solidarity with the French, grieving the murders and outraged by the hate.
This is not a France problem. This is a global problem. And we want to unite everybody together and make people feel comfortable and safe and understand that freedom of press, freedom of religion, freedom of speech is our God-given right.
Back live now here, she says she's turned to social media to get the word out about tonight's candlelight vigil. It is set to begin at 7:30, and they're not the only ones who are paying tribute. We're also told that members of the French consulate here in LA have also gathered to honor and remember the 12 lives lost in today's violence. Live in Franklin Village, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Leanne, thank you. And more on that. French locals here in L.A. are still reeling from the brutal attack, and our team coverage continues with Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Guanda, who spoke with officials at that French consulate in Century City.
I am French, but I'm half Muslim from my father's side, and I don't understand how such people can really operate this way.
Sami Ayari is from Paris. He's lived in L.A. for 20 years, but he still feels the pain of what happened back home.
And the whole country is in shock. You know, I'm in shock. I had tears in my eyes this morning.
Veronique Dupont is a reporter based in Los Angeles for the French press agency. She says friends and family back home cannot believe this horrific shooting. The attack on the controversial satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo left a dozen people dead.
Everybody knows Charlie Hebdo. Everybody has read their cartoons. They're not always good taste. They're you know, very provocative, insulting sometimes, but everybody knows, respect, and below them and the way that they exist in France.
At the French consulate in West Los Angeles, it was quiet today. The flag at half-staff to remember the victims. While other consulates across the nation have asked for extra protection, LAPD officials say there are no local threats. This afternoon, we did see officers come by for about 10 minutes and then leave.
I think our heart goes out to all of our friends in France and anybody who stands for the freedom of expression.
Ayari worries that this will harm the vibrant free press in France.
And it's terrifying because it's going to create an ambiance now of terror and everybody's going to be afraid to write anything.
And top police chiefs from across the country will get a special conference call briefing tomorrow by the FBI and Homeland Security to assess what occurred in Paris. Reporting from West Los Angeles, I'm Carlos Guanda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Our own Garth Camp is currently on vacation in Paris. He had a chance to talk to someone who knew one of the victims.
He's an old customer, maybe 35 years, I don't remember exactly.
And you just found out now that he was killed?
Yeah, it's killed. It's strange. For me, it's strange. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Garth says the mood of Paris grew increasingly somber as more people learned of what happened. Because of the time of day the attack occurred, many people were out in shops and heading into cafes, including one where two of the victims were regular customers.
We're going to taste the mood tomorrow morning because now we mostly have tourists and it happened like a few hours ago. But I'm pretty sure tomorrow it's going to be a sad day. A sad day because we lose two great people that make painting really funny and with a lot of humor. So that's a big loss.
Stay with Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of the Paris attack and the manhunt for the suspects believed to be responsible. Coming up at 7:30, we'll take a closer look at the sensitivity surrounding the depictions of Muhammad.
A measles outbreak. 9 cases have been confirmed in California. 5 of those cases are people who live here in Southern California. And the California Department of Health says all of those affected visited Disneyland parks in Anaheim in December. Health specialist Denise Tador has more about the outbreak and how measles spread.
Now that people are developing symptoms in the community and they're going out to restaurants, to movie theaters, or other things during their infectious period, we may start seeing secondary cases.
Infectious disease experts say there's one thing the 7 Californians and 2 people from Utah had in common. They all either visited Disneyland or Disney California Adventure between the dates of December 15th and 20th.
The only way you can catch the measles is from somebody who has the measles.
Internal medicine expert Dr. John Bectidon says coughing and sneezing is the easiest way measles spread.
They spray those little viral particles out into the atmosphere, and if you're within sneezing distance or coughing distance, or if you even touch something and then rub your face or your eyes right afterwards, you can get the disease.
The well-known symptoms of red spots usually occur after a high fever, a harsh dry cough, muscle aches, pink eye, and a runny nose. But that's not the worst of it.
but it can cause, in children, encephalitis. It can also cause pneumonia, and those things can kill.
The confirmed cases range in age from 8 months to 21 years old. The measles virus can live up to 2 hours on a surface or in an airspace where the infected person coughed or sneezed. Measles signs and symptoms generally appear 10 to 14 days after exposure to the virus.
State health officials tell us 6 of the 7 California cases confirmed were people who were not vaccinated.
There was a huge herd immunity until just a few years ago when people started to say, oh, I don't want vaccines anymore. And unfortunately, when people don't get vaccinated, if the percentage falls below about 90 or 95%, the viruses find their niche.
Disney officials say they have not received any reports of staff contracting measles, and park officials are working with the health department to provide any necessary information. Denise Tador, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
New information today in the brutal murders of an elderly couple the day after Christmas. Homicide investigators have released a sketch of a suspect. This is the man sheriff's investigators are looking for. The victim, 74-year-old Shirley Issam, and her 89-year-old husband, Army Issam, were attacked at their sprawling Laverne mansion the day after Christmas. Investigators say Shirley Issam was beaten to death and her husband was beaten and stabbed. The man you see in this sketch was seen at the Issam's front gate at the time of the murders.
It was a very brutal attack. I think it's safe to say it was most likely a blitz attack at the front door at their home. It appears that the assault occurred at the front door inside. And after that, the detectives are analyzing the physical evidence, the blood evidence, everything there. And right now, we really don't have a motive or a reason for the attack.
Anyone with information should call the LA Crime Stoppers tip line. That is 800-222-TIPS.
Police in Santa Ana are looking for the public's help to identify a woman suspected of vandalizing a Buddhist temple. The woman has been caught on surveillance video 3 times and is believed to be responsible for several more incidents. Watch as she throws a bottle of alcohol at a statue of a Buddha outside the Huang Tik Buddhist temple in Santa Ana. Investigators are trying to figure out why someone would do this at a place where people come to pray for peace and happiness.
Every day we chanting and pray everyone live in peace. That's all.
Why is she doing this? Is this because she has a hatred for the religion or hatred for the religious statues, or is this some other type of issue?
The temple says the woman has already caused thousands of dollars worth of damage, and if you have information, call OC Crime Stoppers at 1-855-TIP-OCCS.
A deputy-involved shooting in Victorville has left the suspect and 2 deputies hurt. Happened late last night in the 14,000 block of Navarro Drive. Investigators say when deputies pulled a Jeep over for a traffic violation, 29-year-old Strader Surratt, who was a passenger, reached into his waistband where he had a concealed gun. Deputies fired at Surratt, who took off. And when deputies found him, they say he began shooting, so deputies returned the fire. Surratt was shot several times, is expected to survive. 2 deputies have minor injuries not related to the gunfire.
A local bakery is shut down. Dozens become sick after eating a traditional holiday dessert.
Also coming up, a daring leap and rescue caught on camera. We'll hear from the rescuers.
Plus, we'll tell you the best day of the week to weigh in if you're trying to lose weight.
And more temperatures pushing the records today, but I've got a cool down and, yes, some rain back in the forecast. Details in your 7-8.
It's a job of mammoth proportions wrangling this 21-foot snake for her annual weigh-in. It took 7 brave keepers at the Australian Reptile Park to catch Atomic Betty to the reticulated python. She weighed in at a whopping 284 pounds, and officials say that's a healthy weight. Reticulated pythons are the longest in the world and are the only snakes to be considered true man-eaters.
Scary.
So I guess they eat people.
Yikes. It was a chaotic scene as flames ripped through a Michigan apartment building, trapping several people inside. One officer is now being called a hero after rescuing a child. Witnesses say people were jumping off second and third floor balconies. One family even had to drop their 4-year-old child off the balcony to the officer below, and other residents even jumped in to help.
We grabbed the ladder with the police officers and ran around the back side of the building and propped it up on the 3rd story where there was a man and his dog. The police officer went up as we held the ladder with the other police officers. He got down the dog and then the man.
No one was injured. Fire officials say 10 units were badly damaged. Cause of the fire is under investigation.
Let's talk about our weather. It was another spectacular day out there.
Yes, it was almost record-breaking.
Nice.
We had one record that just tied. So not as, this is the meteorological, we do a lot of the meteorological physicality here, and this is one of them. Just tied right there. Yeah, that one took me about 2 weeks to get that. Right now we're going to look at those highs, and you see there, Long Beach, 83. You tied the record, but everybody else, while we were still in the mid-80s, we called it in the weather office today the 85 Club because everybody was hitting 85 today. Downtown, Woodland Hills, Pasadena, San Gabriel all hit 85. Wow, warm stuff in Van Nuys once again. 70 degrees right now. It is a warm evening in Southern California. 64 in downtown at the current moment. Calm winds, very pleasant evening ahead. 61 in Santa Barbara. Let's check out Palmdale up in the Antelope Valley, 48 degrees at the moment. Current temperature, Victorville is 52. Big Bear hanging on to freezing. Very similar to last night. It's pretty much, in terms of the temperatures, the same. And as such here, it is also the same as you head through the plains and into the Midwest, where it is frigid. More wind chill issues ahead tonight. Minus 20 to minus 30 is how it's going to feel across the Midwest and up through the Dakotas. And then you see right here some lake effect snow, some cold air blowing over the Great Lakes. And they got to deal with some of that. For us, it's high pressure. It's our weather maker. It's going to continue to be for one more day, and then things change up as we head through Friday into the weekend. See this arc right here? That's that ridge, but it's starting to buckle and break down later on Thursday because of this trough of low pressure that's digging in here into the eastern Pacific. Now on Friday, watch this little piece of energy just kind of break off late Friday and into Friday night and Saturday morning. That could bring a couple of showers to the area late Friday and into early Saturday. The chance, 20%, but it's there, and we will take it, and we will hope late Friday into Saturday that we see a little bit of rain. In the meantime, Friday into the weekend, we see temperatures cooling down, so we got one more day of warmer weather. 53 Los Angeles in the morning, 55 Santa Clarita, 36 in Fraser Park. And the highs tomorrow, you'll see a cool down, but still above average, 73 in LA, 72, Glendale, 74, Northridge. So temperatures aren't going to be as warm as today, but still about 6-7 degrees above the norm. 75 in the IE and 68 at the coast. Here's that 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. There you go. Friday, we're back to average. Some more clouds are going to be moving on in the next few days. And then Saturday, a slight chance of rain early on. And then Sunday on, looks like we have a little bit of a warming trend ahead from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday back to those 70s. Valleys, IE, 74 tomorrow, upper 60s for a few days with a slight chance of rain early Saturday, and then back to the 70s on Monday. The beaches, a couple more clouds again for the whole area the next few days, and then the chance of rain is in there for you as well on early Saturday with temperatures staying in the 60s throughout. The mountains, 2 more days in the 50s, and you get back into the 40s finally for the weekend. Maybe some showers on Saturday, and snow potentially way up there. Above 7,000 feet on Sunday morning, temperatures in the 40s from Monday on. But the chance of any precipitation for all of us is very low into the weekend, but we will take that slim risk that we have in the high desert, staking around pretty much around 60, give or take, for that whole 7 day. More weather coming up in a few minutes.
Jonathan, thank you.
Yep.
Santa Ana Bakery is closed after several people became sick from eating rosca de reyes, a Three Kings cake, which is part of many Epiphany celebrations. It was sold at nearly a dozen different locations. Orange County reporter Greg Lee has the story.
I had never felt so terrified. Like, I didn't even know what was going on with me.
A scary night for Ireri Hinojosa and her family. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital because she felt dizzy, numb, and her heart was racing.
I was hallucinating. Like, I couldn't tell the difference. I couldn't tell if I almost felt like I was not in my body.
More than 30 people reported the same symptoms last night, including this family. They all said they ate Rosco de Reyes bread made at Cholula's Bakery in Santa Ana. The traditional dessert is eaten on Three Kings Day, celebrating the arrival of the three wise men.
Some people had symptoms as soon as 20 minutes after eating the bread. We don't think it's like an infectious agent, so we're looking at other agents.
The health department and Santa Ana police officers spent the morning at the bakery. Health officials closed the store and suspended its permit, citing traces of cockroach infestation. We tried to speak to the owner.
¿Una entrevista? No tenemos chance ahorita.
But he walked away from our camera. While the health department continues to investigate, Hinojosa says this could have been even worse for her family.
If they would have ate what I ate, what could have happened to them, to like a 4-year-old? I have a 4-year-old.
As of right now, the health department is not treating this as a criminal investigation. They are urging the 10 stores throughout Orange County and Long Beach that sell this bread to throw it away immediately. Reporting in Santa Ana, Greg Lee, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
If you made a New Year's resolution to lose weight in 2015, make sure you weigh yourself on Wednesdays. A recent study done in Finland says that Wednesday is the day when your weight is least likely to fluctuate. Researchers say we typically weigh more on the weekend and then burn pounds off during the week. Key to accurately tracking your weight is consistency, using the same scale, the same amount of clothing, and weighing yourself at the same time of day.
Well, add some spice to your next meal. Besides adding a nice little kick, experts say peppers and other spicy foods pack some big health benefits. Studies show eating foods like chili peppers and jalapenos burn extra calories as well as boost metabolism up to 8%. They may also make you less likely to overeat. Not just that, but studies show spicy food may help your heart by lowering cholesterol and increasing blood flow. The latest research has also found a link between peppers, slower growth of prostate cancer cells.
Stand-up comedian is recovering in the hospital after being attacked on stage.
Also coming up, the U.S. Postal Service says this suspected mail thief has struck again. What it's doing in hopes of stopping her.
And turning human waste into water. Would you drink something made of that? Why Bill Gates is putting his support behind a relatively new machine. A stand-up comic is hospitalized after getting attacked on stage by a man with a baseball bat.
I was getting the mic stand, like, all right, let's bring up your next con, wham.
Dylan Avila was working at a comedy club in Renton, Washington, when a man leaped onto the stage and whacked him in the head with a bat. Other comics and some audience members came to his aid. He suffered a fractured skull, but like a true comic, he's finding the humor in the situation.
Regulars can't faze me. I got hit with a baseball bat.
Yeah, he should be out of the hospital tomorrow and says he now has some new material. As for the attacker, he's under arrest and police are looking for possible motive. Avila says the man had worked at the same club in the past, doing a routine in which he claimed to be Jesus, which bombed and offended a lot of people. When he kept doing the routine, Avila had him banned from performing.
Well, here's a story that might sound unappetizing at first, but it's important. It's turning feces into drinking water. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates has spent millions of his foundation's money on just that. Gates, along with a team of aerospace engineers, have come up with the Omni processor, which produces highly filtered water from the steam of burning human waste or sewer sludge. This is an attempt to help some of the nearly 2 billion people worldwide who don't have toilets or proper sanitation.
We extract the water, purify it, and then we have the water to turn around and sell or return to the community.
The machine has been tested on local sewer sludge, but now it's headed for West Africa. In a blog post, Gates wrote that the water tasted as good as any he's had out of a bottle.
Wow. We're updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30.
We'll have the latest on Paris terror attacks, a closer look at the sensitivity surrounding Muhammad and how he is depicted.
Plus, 3 more women come forward to accuse Bill Cosby of sexual assault on the day he returns to the stage. We'll have their stories and their words coming up.
This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Our top story at 7:30, terror in Paris. Gunmen with ties to a Yemeni terrorist network opened fire at an office of a satirical newspaper, leaving a dozen people dead. I'm Ellen Leva.
Good night, David Donut. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. The youngest of 3 suspects wanted in connection with the attack has surrendered to police. One of the suspects was previously convicted of terrorism charges and sentenced to 18 months in prison. The search is on for the 2 other suspects. 12 people were killed in today's attack. 11 others have been hurt. France's president has declared tomorrow a day of national mourning and ordered flags to fly at half-staff for 3 days.
It's just the most recent example of controversy surrounding depictions of the Prophet Muhammad. Eyewitness News reporter Robert Dolgeen spoke with local Islamic scholars about the recent history of the Prophet's portrayal and its contentious relationship with free speech.
It happened in Denmark back in 2010. A 28-year-old Somali man was arrested after trying to kill a 75-year-old cartoonist who had drawn a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad wearing a bomb-shaped turban.
There are certainly analogies between what happened in Paris and the build-up in Denmark.
Tim Tangerlini is a professor at UCLA who's working on a book about the Danish cartoon controversy, which sparked heated debate about religious sensitivity and freedom of expression.
The debate is going to become more polarized, what we want with debate is we want to find common ground. We don't want polarization, but this is a polarizing action.
In April of 2010, the creators of South Park used a depiction of Muhammad in their cartoon, but after a number of death threats, Comedy Central censored the image and bleeped out references to Muhammad's name. In the local Muslim community, there is some debate over whether or not depictions of Muhammad are blasphemous, but local Muslim groups stand united in denouncing violence.
What these terrorists are doing is they're playing the role of God, and if anything, they're committing a sin and associating partnership with God, which is one of the worst sins in our religion.
A spokesman for the Council on American Islamic Relations in Anaheim says nothing can justify attacks on innocent people.
If someone uses free speech to insult and mock Prophet Muhammad, we should also be using free speech, as we always do, to educate and correct misperceptions about Prophet Muhammad.
The Muslims that I spoke to here today say that the terrorists in Paris do not speak for their God or for their religion. Reporting from Koreatown, Robert Dolgeen, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And as the country continues to mourn the lives lost in France, it raises some significant questions regarding security. Should we be worried about a similar kind of attack here in the U.S.? Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand spoke to a security expert.
A country in shock, but standing strong. Hundreds gathered around France tonight holding pens in the air and chanting in support of those members of the magazine Charlie Hebdo killed today in an apparent terrorist attack.
I am extremely angry because here in Europe we believe in freedom of expression, in freedom of press and in freedom of thought, and we cannot be silenced with these cowardly acts.
Tonight I'm full of anger. And I think tomorrow I'll be really, really sad.
Security at a heightened level in Paris and around the world. Armed officers stood watch outside the French consulate in New York City. And President Obama meeting with Vice President Biden and Secretary of State John Kerry in the Oval Office today discussing the attack, saying the U.S. will support France with whatever they need. But should we be worried here at home?
It is becoming a more and more complex terrorist threat. It is evolving.
We have seen several attacks recently all over the world. The hostage situation in Australia, the attack on Canada's capital, even the hatchet attack in New York City. But Colin Clark, who has a PhD in international security policy, says this attack was different from those so-called lone wolf attacks.
I'd be more worried because of the skill that the attackers demonstrated in pulling this attack off. 12 is a pretty high body count when you consider the Boston Marathon bombings killed 3.
He also says he thinks today's attack doesn't mean there's a higher chance of an imminent attack here in the U.S., but the chance is always there.
It's really difficult. Law enforcement can't be everywhere at every time, especially in the United States where firearms are much more readily available.
Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And stay with ABC7 for continuing coverage of the Paris terror attack. You can also stay connected on all the latest developments on ABC7.com and by following ABC7 on Facebook and Twitter and with the free ABC7 app.
Arraignment today for 5 suspects in the shooting death of a security guard outside the Grand Terrace roller rink during a New Year's party. The suspects, ranging in age from 15 to 20, each pleaded not guilty. According to prosecutors, all are gang members and all are being charged as adults, facing 1 count of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder for seriously injuring 2 other victims. Witnesses say 48-year-old Richard Williamson died a hero trying to protect people when the gunshots rang out. 5 suspects are due back in court next month.
For the second time in recent months, a male thief has hit a Toluca Lake condo complex. And as Eyewitness News reporter Darsha Phillips says, it appears the thief has a master key, the kind only the mail carrier is supposed to have.
Surveillance footage from a condominium complex on Woodbridge in Toluca Lake clearly shows 2 people entering the main lobby. A short time later, both leave with mail. Investigators with the U.S. Postal Service say the woman is a suspect in this mail theft and multiple others.
We all feel robbed and violated, as you would expect, but more than that, we're angry.
The theft happened about 6:30 Monday evening. Homeowners in the complex say their building is very secure and believe the thieves may have a post office master key.
Once they gain access to the outgoing mail slot, they can press this little handle right here, and that opens all the mailboxes.
This is the second time this complex has been hit.
We've had now 2 incidents on the same building 6 weeks apart by what looks to be the same people.
Investigators say the surveillance footage from that incident shows the same woman entering and leaving the building.
They go right in and they open up the boxes and they just take everything they want.
It's very concerning. I mean, anything in the mail could have your social security number in it. It could have bank account numbers in it. It could have actual bank cards or credit cards that they could have access to.
Tampering or stealing mail is a federal offense. The U.S. Postal Inspection Service believes this suspect may be responsible for multiple thefts in the area and are offering a $10,000 reward. Now, if you recognize the suspects or have any information that can help solve this crime, you're asked to contact the United States Postal Inspection Service at the number you see on your screen. That's 877-876-2455 and use the case number 206-3656. Reporting in North Hollywood, I'm Darsha Phillips, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Significant development in the search for answers to the crash of AirAsia Flight 8501. Dive crews and a robotic underwater vehicle have spotted the plane's tail in the Java Sea. That could be crucial because that part of the plane housed the flight and data recorders. The next step is to recover them. Flight with 162 people on board disappeared from radar while en route from Indonesia to Singapore December 28th. So far, just 40 bodies have been found. Officials hope many of the others are in the fuselage, which has yet to be located. Airline says the family of each victim will receive $100,000 in compensation. And a skydiving plane has crashed in New Zealand, but all 13 people on board survived by leaping from the plane moments before it went into the lake. Soon after takeoff, the plane suffered an apparent engine failure. What was going to be a skydiving adventure turned into a life-saving necessity. Each of the 6 tourists on board was paired with an instructor. They all parachuted from the plane, followed by the pilot who got out just in time. All landed safely with no serious injuries.
3 more women have come forward accusing comedian Bill Cosby of drugging and sexually assaulting them. Attorney Gloria Allred held a news conference today with women, and she also had a message to Cosby's former co-star Felicia Rashad. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez has more.
3 new Cosby accusers say they have guarded their secrets for decades, only now feeling their stories would be believed. Linda Kirkpatrick says a 1981 tennis match in Vegas led to a backstage invitation and a sip of foul-tasting champagne. The next thing she recalls,
I was lying down. Cosby was on top of me, kissing me forcefully.
Lynn Neal worked at a Vegas health club in 1983.
He built my trust by pretending to be a friend. He drugged and raped me.
A woman who gives only her first name, Casey, was an assistant to Cosby's agent in 1996. She says Cosby insisted she take a white pill.
Next, I remember waking up in a bed with Mr. Cosby naked beneath his open robe.
No word from Cosby or his lawyers as he arrived in Ontario, Canada today to resume his stint of stage shows. But in an exclusive interview with ABC, Cosby's former co-star Felicia Rashad defends him.
What I said is this is not about the women. This is about something else. This is about the obliteration of legacy.
Felicia,
You should be supporting these women rather than joining Cosby's paid, quote, attack dogs, end quote, who are trying to undermine them in any way that they can.
What the women seek? No claims in court. The statute of limitations has expired. Instead, they want a face-to-face with Cosby and an acknowledgement of his alleged acts. Miriam Hernandez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Authorities in Poland plan to once again question fugitive film director Roman Polanski after a new extradition request from prosecutors in Los Angeles. The request was sent to Poland's prosecutor general and forwarded to the authorities in Krakow, where the Oscar-winning director is preparing to shoot his latest movie. In October, Krakow prosecutors refused a U.S. request to arrest Polanski, who fled to Europe nearly 40 years ago after being convicted of unlawful sex with a minor.
Drones are becoming a big business.
And that's why they're a major focus of the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Up next, we'll look at what drones are doing now.
Our high today in downtown LA, 85 degrees. Can you believe that? Another day with temperatures about 20 degrees above average, but it's all changing in your 7-day forecast coming up.
State lawmaker has introduced a bill that would create third-party oversight for fatal police shootings. Assemblyman Kevin McCarty would take the initial investigations away from local police and local district attorneys. He says outside reviews avoid an appearance of conflict of interest.
One senator wants airport and airline workers to undergo the same screenings as passengers. Senator Charles Schumer is asking the TSA to require all U.S. airports to screen staff for weapons every day when they start work. Pilots and flight crews pass through TSA metal detectors, but the senator says many employees who work in secure areas of the airport aren't screened. 5 people, including a baggage handler, have been charged with illegally shipping firearms between New York and Atlanta on passenger jets.
Text messages on your car windshield, drones you can wear like a wristwatch.
Those are just a couple of the new high-tech innovations on display at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Our consumer specialist, Rick Romero, shows you how they work.
Up till now, security cameras haven't advanced much, but the iCam Pro from Amarillo is a CES Innovation Award winner that's different.
It's the first security camera that does automatic motion tracking, 360 degrees. You can mount it on a desktop, wall, or upside down on a ceiling, and it will track any intruder around your house.
This is Sense HUD by Sense Driver. It is a portable heads-up display that you put on the dashboard of your car. Using your smartphone, it will read back your text messages. It will give you turn-by-turn directions. All of this without taking your eyes off the road. Drones are making big news just about everywhere they pop up and fly. And here in Las Vegas, it's no different with Stampede Global.
Think about all the different applications this can be used for, just from an actual end user to someone that's a photographer or someone that's doing real professional videography. You're able to now capture video from perspectives you never were able to before, in the air.
I'm wearing a pair of headphones by Avegant called Glyph, but there's a lot more to this than just sound. If I flip them down like this, I can now watch high-definition videos that I can stream from my smartphone or from my computer. Lowe's Home Improvement Stores wants consumers to realize what a smart home can do for them. So they built a complete house here at CES and outfitted it with Iris.
We are bringing home automation to a way with 50 products across the Iris set. Everything can connect from your door locks, your light switches, your water heater, making it really simple for the consumer. No wires, make it secure, make it comfortable, make it controllable for the consumer.
This is the LeakSmart automated water shutoff valve. Think about it. If you had an earthquake and the pipe broke, it would automatically shut off your water. Or let's say you have a small leak somewhere in the house and you're not there. It'll again shut it off. It's $159 at Lowe's. This is Rick Romero, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Jonathan Novak enthralled with that story.
He really was.
He's a gizmo guy, I'll tell you. We still have a lot more ahead in Eyewitness News at 7:30.
Coming up, another sign the Rams are heading back to Los Angeles. We'll tell you what Rams owner Stan is doing.
And a live look at Long Beach meteorologist Jonathan Novak is up next with the 7-day forecast, and we can also help Ellen on Stan's last name.
What's his last name? Two of the world's newest royals are meeting the public. Prince Albert and Princess Charlene showed off their newborn twins today. Gabriella and Jacques were swaddled in white as their parents carried them to the balcony of the royal palace. Proud and excited crowds gathered below, waving flags and holding banners. Twins were born on December 10th.
All right, let's talk about our weather. Jonathan Novak joins us for that. Another beautiful and very, very warm day today.
It's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
85 today. I mean, that's just 2 days in a row in the mid to upper 80s. We didn't really break any records today. We tied one in Long Beach, and that was it. But still, come on, upper 80s in some spots. We need some winter, people. And I think we're going to get a little bit of it. It's not going to be like last week. That was winter, but we're going to get close to it as we head into the 7-day later on. Right now, it's not a bad night. A few clouds around. Highs today just to emphasize the heat. Oh, 85 Burbank, Camarillo, 71 in Newport Beach, and that should be in Riverside, 84. Big Bear even hit 60. We need some more snow. We need some more cold. I would like that. At least 63 Laguna Beach at the moment. Calm wind. It is pleasant, so we'll enjoy it. In the meantime, 69 Santa Clarita and 70 in Van Nuys, very similar to last night. Temperatures, a Big Bear, very close to where we were last night, to 32 degrees. What we have, the big setup, the big picture, a big trough digging in to the plains and the center part of the country, and that's bringing very cold air for them. But we have this arc right here in the clouds. You see that? That's a ridge of high pressure that has been over us, keeping us very warm. And for tomorrow, it'll start to break down, but we will still see the effects of it in the shape of some warmer weather. We won't see 80s like we did today, but we'll see some 70s. And we'll see additional cloud cover moving in as we see a trough of low pressure move in. I can show you this right here on the future scan. Watch here off to the left of your screen, all this energy digging into the eastern Pacific as we go through Thursday. It's going to help to break that ridge of high pressure down. And eventually, as we go through Friday night into Saturday, a little piece of energy is going to break off, move over the area on Friday night into Saturday morning. What does that mean? It means we could see a little bit of rain, potentially. Chance is 20%, but it's there Friday night into Saturday for that little bit of energy to spin up some moisture and see some rain. Okay, so fingers crossed. In the meantime, temperatures tomorrow, warm, not like today, but we're in the 70s in LA for highs and 50s for lows, so above average. 53 in the morning, LA, Inglewood, and Redondo Beach. 41 in Wrightwood. And the highs tomorrow are looking like this. We lower 60s in the Antelope Valley, 65 Fraser Park, 74 from Simi Valley over to Thousand Oaks and Northridge, and about that in LA. 73 in downtown. The IE looking warm as well in the mid-70s. But these temperatures are the beginning of the cool down. The cool down continues on Friday, and we get back to average. See that 69 in your 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County. Powered up AccuWeather. There's that chance of rain on Saturday. It's slim, 20%. We will take it. It's entered the picture. It wasn't there yesterday, so that's good. That's a good indication. Hopefully we get a couple sprinkles. Valleys IE tomorrow, some clouds coming in. A little bit of cooler air, but still 74 above average, and then upper 60s for 3 days before you get back into the 70s for next week. The beach looking good, 69 tomorrow. Warm stuff, lower 60s for the weekend, and a few showers possible at the coast. The mountains, 2 days in the 50s, and you're back finally into the 40s for the weekend. Maybe a little bit of rain, potentially snow above 7,000 feet on Sunday morning. Slim chances, though. And then the high desert looking like you've got some chances as well, but only 10% on Saturday. Guys, we would need some better chances than this, but hopefully we will see some more after this 7-day is done. Back to you at the desk.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
We start with the NFL, and another good sign that the Rams are heading back to Los Angeles. Team owner Stan Kroenke is returning calls to St. Louis city officials. Maybe he's not returning calls, I think is what I'm supposed to say. And Monday it was announced Kroenke is part of a joint venture. He's planning to build an 80,000-seat football stadium in the Hollywood Park area. Now the spokesman for the St. Louis mayor, Francis Slay, says Kroenke has not responded. He hasn't called back. He hasn't done anything. Maybe we will get a team after all. College football now. Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston says he'll be playing for pay next season. He's going to enter the NFL draft. ESPN's draft guru Mel Kiper says the former Heisman Trophy winner could be the first or second player taken. And on January 12th, Oregon and Ohio State will get it on in the first ever true college football championship game at the house that Jerry Jones built, AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And you can watch a game only on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Finally, baseball's newest Hall of Fame class gathered in New York today for their official welcome to the Hall news conference. Former Dodger Pedro Martinez says he's proud to be part of this year's class because it's one for the aged.
Being part of it and being looked at as an old goat. That's what we all became. We became old goats now. The kids are going to be like, oh, look, that's Pedro, that's John. Oh, that was back then. So we all became old goats after yesterday.
Well, in case you're wondering, old goats, for the record, Martinez is 43, John Smoltz is 47, Craig Biggio is 49, Randy Johnson is 51.
That's really old. More news straight ahead here at 7:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Updating breaking news tonight, the all-out manhunt for 2 gunmen in today's Paris massacre. Live team coverage at 11. Plus, a Southern California father in hot water after allowing his 18-year-old daughter to throw a risque birthday bath. Now, these stories and all the late breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
On the list of things you don't want to find in the bathroom at work, this is probably near the top. A 5.5-foot boa constrictor. An employee at a San Diego office building noticed the water level in the toilet seemed a little higher. She went and got a plunger, and once she started plunging, the snake began to slither out. So much for do-it-yourself plumbing. Animal control was called in and removed the snake. That was at work.
Ooh. Ew, I don't even want to think about that.
You'd hear Jonathan screaming across the stage.
Oh, man. And she got a plunger herself.
Oh.
Wow. So many parts of that story. Do pregnant gorillas get food cravings? We may never know, but we do know that Kim Ya, a pregnant gorilla at the Melbourne, Australia Zoo, enjoyed a 3-layer frozen fruitcake today. Actually, Kim Ya's partner seemed to enjoy it even more than she did. Maybe he has sympathy cravings. The cake was for Kim Ya's 10th birthday. Her baby is due in about a month and a half. It'll be the first baby gorilla born at the zoo in 14 years.
Oh, man, that's going to be some adorable video.
Yeah, oh, I can't wait.
I'm sure we're going to bring that to you so we can watch it. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next here on LA56.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com.
Remember, you can get your news 24 hours a day by following us on Facebook and Twitter and by downloading our ABC7 apps. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock right here on LA56.
Good night.